Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Finn and welcome back to Car Talk. Now in this episode, what we are going to be doing is going through something where people who probably are starting off being interested in cars might most likely want to know, which is what are the major differences between a supercar, a hypercar and a megacar. These are three very specific types of cars which overall will be fully classed as the well-known type of car, which is called the supercar. However, the name supercar, for those who want to go more in depth, is actually a part of only one little bit of these three major different types of the supercar. So let's get right into this. This might also be useful for people who probably own cars that they might think that are probably classed as hypercars or supercars, but they might not be so sure. What you need, basically what your car needs in order for it to be classed as a supercar, hypercar, or if you're ridiculously rich, a megacar. So let's start off with the most popular one, the supercar. So basically all of these types will mostly be classed as a supercar, just to make it easier for people to understand about what these kinds of cars are. Basically, expensive, rare, you know. But basically, there are four key points of making sure that you own a supercar. This is not a super car. This is a supercar. Basically, the whole point of a supercar is to be expensive, fast, to look like nothing else you've seen on the road, and for it to be as rare as well as a car can be. So if you want your car to actually be classed as a supercar, then it needs to tick off the performance bits. So if you think your car is one of them, basically the car needs to have eye-watering specs, at least some form of like expensive technology, or perhaps something to do with aerodynamics, which is also something that most supercars are going towards these days. Also to have a fast, at least fast, top speed and a blistering 0 to 60 mile per hour or 0 to 100 km/h time. If your car is certain of being classed as a supercar, it needs to have at least 500 horsepower or more, as well as it should have a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of at least 4 seconds or faster, as well as having a top speed of over 175 miles per hour. Because of course, like the Audi R8. Let's talk about the old R8, which had a 4.2 litre V8. Basically, that car had a top speed of 180, I believe. Although it may not have 500 horsepower, that is basically classed as an old one, whereas new ones are definitely going over 500 horsepower, easy. Within a price range of your car being classed as a supercar, your car must have a price tag brand new of at least £100,000. More like $180,000, I think. But anyway, if it has a price range of £100,000 or over, your car is most definitely classed as a supercar. When it comes to styling, a supercar has to look like nothing that has ever been seen on the road. Basically, if it looks like, for example, a Mercedes-AMG, a BMW M car, or perhaps something like an Audi R6, if it looks like that, then there's no way that it's going to be classed as a supercar. If you look at cars from car manufacturers that have been absolutely on the point when it comes to standing out, like Ferrari or Lamborghini, you will know that they stand out really well, especially in posters and wallpapers and car magazines. As for the main part, which is the car's rarity, it has to have at least a production run of at least 5,000 cars made or less. If it comes to any more than that, then your car will probably be classed as a super sports car. Now let's move on to the hypercars. Basically, the whole point of a hypercar is basically next level things from the supercar. So basically, this is the hypercar point links the performance that's never been seen on this planet. They are much rarer and probably faster than supercars, but they are at the point where supercars have to catch up onto. Let's just put it this way: in 2014, the Porsche 918 broke all records by going from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. In 2014, there were hardly any supercars that could go from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. But now, as we move on 4 years on, with of course like the Nissan GTR facelift and the McLaren 720S, these cars are worth a lot less, and they are new supercars that can already do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. Even a McLaren, which is rear-wheel drive, which means that it has a slower launch than the Nissan R35, it can still do 0 to 60 in that quick. That's how fast supercars are now going to catch up towards hypercars. If you are certain that your car is classed as a hypercar, it needs to have at least a production run of 1,000 cars. Lots of people have said that it needs to be 500 cars at the maximum, but actually the Porsche 918, which is another fantastic example of a hypercar, only 918 cars were made. So that just proves that a hypercar can be more than 500 cars made. As long as it's a super rarely production run car that has a production run of a maximum of 1,000 cars, you're good to go. Your car must also cost £500,000 or more. This is not £500,000 brand new because, again, for 2018, when these cars went on sale in the US, they were on sale for about £200,000 because people didn't believe that Porsche was going to beat its rivals. But Porsche destroyed it and made F1 feel so horrible. And then within like the past month, they were already reaching like $1 million easy. And now the last part of a hypercar is that it has to have mind-blowing performance and styling. The whole point of a supercar is for it to look nothing like any other car that's been on the road, but a hypercar has to look nothing like any supercar that's been on the road. If you get what I mean by that. As far as for the performance, it needs to have ballistic, mind-blowing performance that the supercars have to catch up onto. Now let's move on to the last part, the Megacar. Not many people know about what this type of car is because it's a brand new type of car which is pretty much going to take over the hypercar part. Basically, the hypercar for now is going to be a bit like, say, a super car type now. Basically, the whole point of a mega car is for it to have at least one or two or perhaps more than that features. It's basically meant to be a hypercar that has a few features that are only one of a kind. Let me just give you examples that are absolutely destroying this game with this type of car. Koenigsegg, with two cars, the Koenigsegg Agera RS, where there's lots of different versions of that, like basically this car broke a world record for the fastest production car in the world. But the main point that made this car history so much in fact that brand new they were $2 million, and just recently one got sold for $10 million, and they've only been out for like a year or two. Like, this is ridiculous. Is that this car has a ratio of 1-to-1 ratio of power. What does that mean? Basically, the car has the horsepower of what the car weighs, meaning that it can also do 1,000 horsepower per ton. So the car has 1,360 horsepower, meaning that the car will weigh 1,360 kilos. That's basically what a 1-to-1 ratio of power does. And the other Koenigsegg that's also done this is called the Regera. So basically, this is just like the Agera RS, except it weighs a little bit more, but it has a little bit more power, so it might just make a 1-to-1 ratio of power as well. But the thing about that car is you can do pretty much the exact same thing as with the Agera RS with only one gear. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for this episode of Car Talk. If you actually want to know something really interesting, on the 4th of August 2018, I am going down to London just to do something Stammer during the 20th year of the Gumball 3000 rally. Sadly, I'm not going on the rally, but if you guys can spot me walking around this massive place, then just say hi. I might be a bit shy because I've never met any of my friends so far, and that I'm not great with meeting strangers. I have to honest, so I don't know why I'm saying this. But anyway, if you see me, then just say hi and just tell me that you've been watching me on YouTube, and then I'll just get into it. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, and click on that little bell so you know exactly when I'll upload my next video, as well as to comment down below if there's any other types of cars that you want me to actually talk about, because I will love to do things like this. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. That's my iPad.